Hello, and welcome to my film about teaching middle school French through hip hop and rap music. My name is Jennifer Shaneman, and this film is intended for academic purposes only. First of all, during my time as a French teacher at Sherman Middle School, I learned very quickly that the best way to connect with and build relationships with youth is to figure out their interests. I found that the more I could understand and connect with students, the more engaged they became with what I was teaching. If I were to write a guidebook on how to be a successful middle school teacher, the first and all culminating guideline would be know your students. Once you have some ideas about your students' interests, you can start using them in your lessons. You can even simply use them as a way to greet them as they come into your classroom, like, hey, I noticed you're wearing a Nicki Minaj t-shirt today, or hey, I see Michael Jordan on your t-shirt. I taught in an urban middle school where most of my students lived and breathed hip hop and rap culture. Luckily, I shared this interest, so it was easy for me to incorporate it into my teaching. But even if I didn't, it wouldn't be hard to do a little research in order to start making those connections. Radio, internet, TV, and simply asking your students questions about their interests are easy ways to get started. Second of all, you need to keep in mind that teaching French at the middle school level is about exposure and building interests. Yes, some students may master the boring grammar, but most of them will remember that cool hip hop song or the time you made French crepes together. And at the middle school level, this is okay. Anything you can do to sensitize them to other cultures will make a huge impact on their future views about cultures different from their own. Now I'd like to start talking to you about how to actually teach French through French hip hop and rap. First of all, it might be important to talk to your students about the history of hip hop. This might help engage those who aren't interested in current hip hop. Many people think it started with the Sugar Hill Gang's Rapper's Delight in 1979. You know, the one that goes essa da hip hop, a hippie to the hippie to hip hip. Okay, well, I won't go on because I'm not a rapper. But in fact, the origins go back further than that. According to the book Global Linguistic Flows, the ancestors of modern hip-hop are the West African griots, or in French, griot. A griot is a traditional storyteller who reported the history and the reality that the people were living in Senegal, Mali, Guinea, and other West African countries. Griots passed their stories orally through poetry, music, and song. This tradition spread to the Americas with the slave trade. Because the slaves couldn't read or write, their stories and songs lived on through spoken word. Oral storytelling remained and grew in plantations among the slaves. From these roots came the modern oral tradition called hip-hop. Teaching French through hip-hop is a great way to hit on the National World Language Standards 5 C's: communication, cultures, connections, comparisons, and communities. Communication. Through French hip-hop, students will study French language. Students will learn new vocabulary words, review grammatical structures, and learn familiar French language. Culture. Like I've already demonstrated, you can teach students about the history of hip-hop. In addition, through watching French hip-hop videos and studying French hip-hop language, students will learn about social issues, fashion, dance, language, and other cultural aspects of French-speaking countries. Students may also study Francophone hip-hop and rap stars. Connections and comparisons. Students will make connections and comparisons to American hip-hop and to their own language and culture. Communities. Students will learn about the communities in the French-speaking country that is being studied. Students will take with them into their community that other countries also have hip-hop music. Perhaps some students will join or are already members of your school's spoken word or hip-hop dance clubs. These are just examples of how hip-hop connects to the 5 C's. You and your students should revisit the 5 C's during your studies of French hip-hop and create your own goals. There are ways to take studying hip-hop and rap to a deeper level. For example, you can have students create a parody of the song or video. Students could also create a lyrics music video with translations. They can do any other kind of hands-on project like PowerPoints, poems, songs, drawings, anything they can share with their classmates, teachers, and parents. It's really up to you and your students as to how deep you'd like to go with your study of French hip-hop. To start, you will need to build a repertoire of French hip-hop and rap music. The best thing to do is to find music that is catchy and is something that you think your students might like or be able to relate with. If you don't know of any French hip-hop or rap, you can look it up on the internet or listen to a French radio station live streaming to familiarize yourself. Because I've lived in both France and Quebec, I'm going to get you started with examples of hip-hop and rap music that I like from each of those regions. You have to make sure that the content is appropriate for school or that you would be comfortable discussing some of the issues that might come up in the video or lyrics. I found the site Rap Genius to be a great resource. I use it to retrieve lyrics, and also Rap Genius goes into details about what the lyrics mean in case you are unsure of any terminology or slang words. Finally, if some lyrics are in English, don't fret. This can actually be a benefit at this level where we simply want to build interest. Students will get excited and less frustrated when they understand some of the lyrics. Sometimes there's a mixed catchphrase, like in Camaro's "Femme like you," which means a woman like you. I guarantee you the students will get these type of catchphrases stuck in their heads and come into class singing them. I used the song "Femme Like You" by Camaro with 6th graders because of the catchiness and mixed phrases. Unfortunately, there is not an official video for Camaro's "Femme Like You," but you can find a lyrics video on YouTube. The phrases are short and easy to read. Students will pick up some French while reading and singing along to the lyrics. Looking at some of the lyrics here, you will recognize the French body parts vocabulary like cœur for heart and corps for body. There's also short mixed phrases like ton bon vieux funk, ton rock, ton sol, which here students will learn how to say your in French, which is ton. You can find family vocabulary here with femme for woman, and here with for man. Adolescents love the word because they think it looks like the English slang word homie. Now, in addition to Camaro's "Femme Like You," I'm going to give you some hip-hop and rap songs out of France that will help you build your repertoire. Let's start with one of the first big rap stars of France, MC Solar. Of Senegalese origin, MC Solar has an interesting background. He moved to France with his parents when he was only 6 months old, due to political troubles in Senegal. At age 12, he went to live with an uncle in Cairo for 9 months, where he discovered the Zulu nation and became fascinated with the rapping style of Afrika Bambaataa. He came back to France and passed his baccalaureate, and later became the rapper we know today as MC Solar. MC Solar usually raps about adult content. However, in La Belle et le Bad Boy, he scopes in on a tragic love story between 2 teens. There is actually a video on YouTube that a group of high school students created in which they act out scenes and add their own dialogue. You could show this, and you could also have your students create their own parodies. As you see here in the lyrics, you can go through translations with your students. Ils s'étaient rencontrés sur les bancs d'école means they met at school or on a school bench. Entre une heure de colle, de maths ou d'espagnol, so between detention, a math or a Spanish class. C'était une fille fun, fana de football. Here they'll learn the fun slang word for fan or fanatic, which is fana. As I said, the rap is about a love gone wrong, and here the lyrics portray that the danger of crimes and gang activity that they faced was stronger than their love. This is the refrain, les sous-ensembles dans les grands ensembles s'assemblent, which loosely translates as the hoodlums of the projects band together and unite. And also in the refrain is the song title, La Belle et le Bad Boy, which makes reference to the Beauty and the Beast, which in French is La Belle et la Bête. Next is one of my personal favorites, Diams. I particularly like her because she is a woman rap star, which we don't always see that often. She raps about socio-political issues in France, including racism. She represents a tough woman of the streets, and her lyrics are in a rich French slang, which can be really fun to play with and study. In her song La Boulette, she sings about being a kid from the ghetto of Paris. The video is rich in hip-hop fashion, dance, and language, especially French street slang. Here you see simple street slang like ouais for yes. Here, foulek foulek is a slang word based on the word fou, which means crazy, and les mômes is a slang word for kids. She brings up socio-political issues such as the suicide rate among teens. She mentions Marine Le Pen, a leader in the Front National, which is considered to be a racist political party. Here, students will learn the slang for bothering or making fun of somebody, which is the word eh merde, and also the phrase parce que ça fait zizi means because it's amusing. So here, she makes fun of Marine in her songs because it's amusing. Corneille is a Canadian francophone R&B singer-songwriter of Rwandan origin and gained fame in France in 2003. I have found his song Des Pères, des Hommes et des Frères to be a good one for beginner French as it reviews family vocabulary. The video is also very moving as it portrays the struggle of a father who loses his wife and who goes through bankruptcy and ends up on the streets with his son. The song Désolé by Section d'Assaut has a dramatic introduction where parents are arguing very loudly and their boy is trying to do his homework while listening to his rap music. He gets fed up with hearing his parents fight and leaves to walk the streets to get air. These lyrics are really rich for adolescents to connect to. Le conseiller m'a clairement négligé, which means the career advisor clearly neglected me. The song also repeats the word désolé a lot, which is a good word to learn as it means sorry. Now we will look at a couple of my favorites out of Quebec, Canada. I've met the hip-hop rapper Webster personally. He was invited to the school where I taught to share his music and speak with our students. I later met up with him when I lived in Montreal, just shortly after I went to one of his shows that took place during Montreal's huge music festival called Francophonie. He raps in a mixture of languages, which makes his music particularly interesting. He raps in Joual, which is Old Quebec French, Standard French, Modern Quebec French, English, and African American vernacular. He puts a lot of research into his rap, and his songs reflect his high intellect. That's actually how he got his name, Webster, after the dictionary, because friends said he always had his nose in the books as a kid. His song Quebec History X talks about how Africans actually have a lot more to do with Quebec's history than is written in mainstream textbooks. He reveals many Africans who were important to Quebec's history in this song. Students particularly love the song Every Day that Webster does with his sister Miriam. The introduction is a slow ballad in English, which later becomes the refrain. If you could see what we saw, if you knew what we know, if you could walk where we walk in the dark every day, if you don't know how it goes, then listen to what we say, 'cause this song is the song that we live every day. So it's actually a song about racism in Quebec. Throughout the rest of the song, Webster raps in a mixture of the languages that I mentioned earlier, which makes for a really interesting study of language with your students. Nomadic Massive is a hip-hop group with members of several different origins. In their music, they switch between more than 5 different languages, sometimes mid-phrase without missing a beat. You will hear styles such as reggae, hip-hop, funk, Latino, soul, and more from this group, whose members come from Algeria, Haiti, Quebec, St. Vincent, Chile, Barbados, and more. Here you see a photo of me with my friend and with Nomadic Massive group member Nantali Ndango, who literally calls herself I Am Black Girl because she is the only black woman in her rap group. We took this photo after their show at the Belmont in Montreal, where they did a mixtape release party. Their song Réveillé, which means to wake up or awakening, is in both English and Haitian Creole. The video portrays the voodoo that is practiced in Haiti, as you can see here with the voodoo doll. They rap in Creole and English throughout the song. This is a great way for students to get exposure to French Creole, although the lyrics are a bit fast. They also have a song called Sad But True. Even though most of it is in English, there are parts that are in Creole. It is a very political song that speaks to the working class people. Here is an image from Google Images of the entire group that I thought you'd like to see. All images for this video were taken from Google Images, except for the photo of me and Webster and the photo of Nomadic Massive group member Nantali Ndango with me and my friend. Some lyrics were taken from rapgenius.com. Extra information about Diams and MC Solar was taken from Wikipedia. This video was intended for academic purposes only. I hope it will get you started with using French hip-hop and rap in your classroom or in your French studies. Thank you so much for watching.